Hello everyone, welcome to my third CBG lesson live stream. I got a is ready to play some cigar box guitar. All right, so before we get started on the lesson, it might be easier for anyone following along with their CBG to tune to the same key as my guitar. Today, let me make sure I'm in frame. Today I'll be using my cat to back, and cat to back is somewhere in the realm of E. Let me tune exactly to E, so that you guys can be in the same key as me, and that'll make it easier for you to follow along without having to pause the stream or the replay to be able to pick out these patterns. So I'm opening up Piano Tuner so that exactly to E. All right, Piano Tuner. That's the app we were talking about last week. All right. Let's see. Might be a little washed out. All right. Here we go. Tuning to E. Oops. This guitar, sorry, is closer to G than to E. Let's tune to G. All right. Tune to G. I already got my G, so all I have to do is tune to Sol Do by ear. Precisely on G. And actually, let me move to my music. Right now I forgot to switch to my music settings, so you're not hearing my guitar very well because of the noise gate. You may hear a little more ambient sounds now, like my AC, because I don't have the noise gate applied in my music setting, but you won't be able to hear the guitar very well if I stay in this setting. So I'm going to switch up. Let's see if OBS does it for me here. Aha! My triggers are working today. Here we go. So I'm exactly on a G. Why don't I plug in? Right now I'm working acoustically, which is cool, but I want you guys to hear this very clearly. So, turning on my yo-yo. And he's ready to go. Make sure I'm not clipping. All I need to do is a little bit of fine tuning. But yeah, if you're following along, please join me on G. I was thinking about, when I said E, I was thinking about the guitar behind me, my acid, and that's currently close to being tuned to E, but Cat to Back is on a G. I forgot he was on a G. So let's go to G. We're sounding in tune together. Okay, now let's talk about today's lesson. Let me check in on the chat for a second in case anyone has come in. If anyone's come in, I would like to say hi. All right. Let me open YouTube up on my phone. Okay. Okay. No one in yet, but that's okay. Here we go. So, let's talk about this here. Okay. Why is finger picking my thing? Well, when I took guitar lessons in high school, they were classical guitar lessons, and that was the only choice, the only way to go. So I became comfortable with finger picking. I never learned to use one of these. I find, excuse me, for me, this is so hard to use, and I turn to a pick when I'm just doing hardcore strumming patterns and I don't want to, you know, hurt my fingers too much. I haven't developed the calluses yet for certain strumming patterns not to hurt on steel strings. So for those occasional times where I need a little bit of help, I use a plectrum, but I don't like using a plectrum. I get very little mileage out of this guy. But there are other reasons besides my comfort and that I started training with finger picking that I haven't considered doing tutorials for playing with a plectrum or playing with a pick. And it's because of this. Let me show you. So why finger picking? Well, yes, using a pick or a plectrum will give you louder sound and more clarity. It'll give you more cut in an ensemble. It gives you a brighter sound, which contributes to the cut. But and playing with your fingers, and I'm not growing my nails to play with my fingers. I'm talking about just playing with, bare fingers, gives you a more mellow and muted sound, which is its own tone thing, but again, doesn't give you the cutting tone that you need to play well in an ensemble. But hold the phone. We're going to talk about why I still stay in the finger picking realm. All right. When it comes to polyphony, being able to play multiple lines on your CBG, bass line and melody at the same time, it's easier to play those polyphonic patterns. And I'm talking about a really low level of polyphony, guys. I'm not talking about Bach or anything. But to have independent lines, to be able to create independent lines, it's easier to do that through finger picking. Now, I know there are amazing guitarists that can create and imply multiple lines with a plectrum, and respect to those guys, but for me, that no data for this stream. If you believe this is incorrect, sending a stream. That's okay. Stop streaming. Okay, I think I'm back on. Hey everyone, can you see me now? Yay! There's always something every week. It doesn't matter what I work out the week before. OBS or YouTube have a technical challenge for me to figure out while I'm live. Isn't that nice? All right. Well, Hi, Diane. Hello, Maria. Lawrence, thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, this is really annoying, guys. Wait, my head is being cut off here. Am I being framed properly? Let me move back a little. Looks like YouTube reframed my stream. Yuck. Okay, so, chat, where did we leave off? Can you tell me where we left off? Or where I left off? Should I start all over? What do you think? The delay's a killer. The delay is a killer, guys. Man, I can't believe YouTube reframed this. Oh, I see more people on the chat. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Oh, okay. There is headroom. There is headroom. All right. Okay. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I'm just going to recap everything. I'm going to try to be quick, just so that I don't miss giving it, any critical piece of information during this lesson. So, if you're joining me with a cigar box guitar, tune your guitar to G. All right. Here's the G, because it will be easier to follow along with today's lesson if we're both tuned to the same key. I mean, it's difficult to have to be pausing the stream or pausing the replay if you're playing in another key. Now, if your instrument cannot handle tuning up to a G, if it is that you need to tune up to a G, don't worry about it. Do the pause and then try the technique in your own key and then come back into the stream or watch the replay. But those of you that can, tune to a G for me. All right. There we go. Okay, now, if you're all tuned up, then you're ready to go. Okay, so, as people were coming into the stream, I was explaining why I fingerpick rather than use a pick or a plectrum. All right, because there are advantages to using a plectrum over just using bare fingers as I do. All right, a pick gives you a louder sound and a more punchier sound, a sound that cuts through an ensemble. All right, gives you good clarity. If you use bare fingers like me, you get a more muted sound, a bassier tone, but a muted one nonetheless. And that's its own aesthetic, its own thing, but it doesn't give you the cut that you'll need to, for example, stand out in an ensemble playing solos and things. So that's one disadvantage of finger picking. Now, the thing is, it's harder to achieve polyphony or having different voices work at the same time with a pick. Now, I've seen amazing guitarists achieve amazing polyphony using a pick or a plectrum, and respect to those guys who can do it. But it's much easier to achieve the same level of polyphony using just these three fingers here, right? Okay, so for me, this is a plus for finger picking. Now, why haven't I bothered to look up some tutorials and become good at using a plectrum? Because I can get the advantages of a plectrum while finger picking if I do two things. I can, one, grow my nails like a classical guitarist and have built-in plectrums. Now, I haven't done this because I'm a crafter, and it's hard to use your hands when you have, long nails. Oh, I lost a light. Grr. Turning back a light. There we go. Have my backup light on. Okay. Now, something that I'm experimenting with is using finger picks. And once I've mastered playing with my finger picks, I'll have the full advantage of finger picking and and the sound with the sound of a plectrum. Okay? So I'll get the best of both worlds using finger picks. Now, I'm not going to come on and play with my finger picks today because I'm still getting used to them. It does take a little bit of translation in technique going from bare fingers to finger picking. I mean, it extends the length of your fingers and the pressure of the strings feels... you feel the pressure of the strings in different places on your fingers. So you kind of lose your muscle memory when you first try to transition from bare fingers to finger picks. But that's what I'm working on. And when I've mastered the finger pick, I'll come on and first show you what finger picks I'm using, the ones that I'm comfortable using, and play a little for you guys so you can hear the difference between the two. Definitely gives you a brighter cut through sound, but I gotta get good at it. And yeah, but again, never claim to be an expert here. I'm learning along with you guys. I'm just a few steps ahead of you and sharing with you what I know. And yeah, anyway, what's on the docket? This is what's in the game plan today. We're gonna look at my go-to finger picking techniques. And all of these, by the way, are blues staples. You can apply them to other genres, but they are definitely blues staples. All right. Now we're gonna start with the techniques that require the lowest level of finger independence, and we're going to move all the way up to the techniques that require high levels of finger and independence, thus a higher level of polyphony. All right? Okay? And so the first thing we're going to look at, let's see. I want to make sure you guys can see my game plan here very well. All right. The first thing that we're going to look at is the 1 flat 7 flat 6 5 descending chord progression. And I like to play this with a 3 finger simultaneous plucking technique. That looks just like this when I'm playing it. All right? And I also play this blues chord progression with alternating fingers done. With this kind of movement. Fingers working together, but not exactly independent. So it's an easy technique to work out. Now, this chord progression, I'll explain what these symbols mean, by the way. This chord progression is used in tons and tons of classic blues songs, such as gosh, I'm blanking out here. I'm blanking out for a second. Why Don't You Do Right by Mississippi Fred McDowell. Um, I found another bluesy song that uses this pattern called One Meatball. Shout out to my friends from B-Roll Stage. Um, and Hit the Road Jack uses that chord progression throughout the song. And so this, and there's another song, I forgot the 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 artist that wrote it, but it's called Alley Cat. Also uses that chord progression. It's a blues song. Um, and so we're gonna look at the finger picking techniques that I use to play this chord progression. Now, before we move on, let me show you what these symbols mean. Um, changing slide. All right. So I'm using the key of C major and its parallel minor to explain what these symbols mean, because it's very easy to think in the key of C. Why? Because C major has no sharps and no flats to deal with. The symbols, these Roman numeral symbols in classical music theory analysis, are used to indicate what chord you're playing in the context of a key. And the symbols also give you information as to what the quality of the chord is: major, minor, augmented, or diminished. All right? And so here, for example, if you build a chord on scale degree 1, how do you build a chord or a triad, a basic chord? You just skip a letter. All right? If I were to skip a letter, C, E, G, this triad would be a major triad. Okay? And major triads get a capital Roman numeral. So the chord on scale degree 1 of a major key is a major chord. If I were to build a chord on D, F, A, which is a chord built on scale degree 2, the quality of that chord would be a minor chord. Thus, you have the lower Roman numerals. All right? Let's skip to the chord built on scale degree 7, which is using a different symbol. All right? It's using lowercase Roman numerals with a little degree sign at the end. When you build a triad on B, D, F, you get a diminished chord. So the chord built on scale degree 7 is diminished, and that's the symbol for a diminished chord in the context of a key. All right? Now, in the Hit the Road Jack chord progression that I just showed you, which which is a chord progression of 1, flat 7, flat 6, flat 5, except we use the major mode of 5. All right. Since we're in a minor key, we'd use the minor key Roman numerals. All right. If you were to build a chord on scale degree 1 in a minor key, you get a minor triad, thus the lowercase 1. Let's go to 6. All right? If you were to build a triad on scale degree 6, in this case we're in C minor, A flat, C, E, you'd have a major triad, thus the capital Roman numeral 6. Now, just a disclaimer for those of you learning using Roman numerals for music analysis in the context of classical music. When you're analyzing classical music in minor keys, you don't have to use the flats before the Roman numerals. All right. I'm using the flats because I in because I'm trying to represent um, the alterations. You know, I'm always comparing the key with its parallel minor, because on a 3-string cigar box guitar, we're only functioning in one key and all of its parallel keys. So we're looking both at major and minor key at the same time. In classical music, you would use it if you're trying to represent modal mixture. But if you're not representing modal mixture, you don't have to use these because it's a given. I mean, you're just you're not always comparing the parallel major and minor together, okay? All right, so, but in this case, again, this cigar box guitar, I am functioning in all the parallel keys at the same time. It's just clearer to show what the chord, what these, what chord progressions I'm using, excuse me, if I put the flats in front of the chords. It's like, okay. Anyway, before we continue, let me see if there are any questions. I'm sure there are, because I don't think I was very clear in that. I will, as always, I will take clips of this stream and have nicely edited version of this lesson. So those of you who want to watch the lesson again, want to watch the replay, you don't have to deal with my technical issues and all of my blah 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 flubs. So let's take some questions at this time. All right. And Lawrence is right. Do not be shy. Do not hesitate to ask questions. Do we get any questions? Anyone in the chat about those Roman numeral symbols? No questions, chat? No questions? No questions? Okay. Well, if any questions pop up, just type them in the chat. Lawrence will probably let me know if there is a question. And so, yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. So that's the first thing we're going to hit, is the hit the road jack chord progression. All right. Simultaneous fingers and alternating fingers. And then we're going to move to the blues ending melodic pattern. All right. And I'm going to use syllables for this. All right. The melodic pattern is te, la, le, sol. And if you remember from last week, that is a little chromatic pattern leading up to sol. I'm going to show you how to play this chromatic pattern as a single line, or with alternating fingers, with just 2 alternating fingers. All right. And then once we get past this, we're going to go to the highest level of polyphony and talk about the walking index finger and middle finger plucking patterns for playing melodies against your thumb playing the bass line. We're going to take the alternating index, middle finger melodic playing by itself first, and then, you know, once we get comfortable with that, we're going to add the thumb to play our bass line. Okay. So without any further ado, let's hit the road, Jack. Here we go. Okay. I see that there are new chats. Okay. Would you add the 7th chord? Do you use metal or plastic finger picks? Okay, answering Darren's question first. I bought some plastic finger picks for myself. And those are the ones I'm trying to get used to. Definitely will experiment with the metal ones after I get used to the plastic ones. Where would you add the 7th chord? It depends on what song you're playing, Weird Guy. In the Hit the Road Jack pattern, chord progression that I'm going to play now, I'm using flat 7 from, just flat 7 from a minor key. The diminished 7th, I don't think in any of the music that I'm playing on cigar box guitar I've had any use for the implied diminished 7, because remember, I'm just playing open bar chords. There are no thirds in all of these chords, so all of these chord progressions are implied. But I've not had to imply 7 diminished in the music that I'm playing. And 7 diminished is the chord built on scale degree 7 in a major key. I've only used flat 7 in the music that I'm playing. So it just depends on what music you're playing. Okay, good questions, guys. Keep them coming. Okay, now, in order to show you what I'm doing with these 3 fingers in the Hit the Road Jack pattern, I kind of have to show you what I'm doing in the left hand with my slide as well. So we'll do I'll quickly show you what's happening with the slide so that you can follow along with the finger picking. Okay, here's my trusty DIY ceramic slide. Make sure I'm not clipping. Okay, cool beans, not clipping. All right, so those of you who have handy dandy scale degree markers on the neck of your cigar box guitar, you'll be able to find these placements easier than people that don't. For those of you that don't, I will also relay the information through fret marker number, okay? All right, but for those of you who have scale degree markers, place your slide on scale degree 1 position. And again, I'm grabbing all 3 strings with my slide. Then move to flat 7, regular 7, major mode 7 is a half step under scale degree 1. You just want to go one more further than that, and you got your flat 7. And then move to flat 6, which is a half step lower than 6, where your dot indicator is. And then go to 5. Okay? Now, for those of you who don't have scale degree markers on your CBG, let me give you the fret numbers. I think this is fret number 12. Let me check. Let me check quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Am I counting wrong? 1, 2. Yeah, okay. fret number 12. All right, so we're using 12, 10, 8, and 7. Again, 12, 10, 8, and 7. And you strum it out first so that you have the pattern in your left hand. I like a downward flicking pattern. Feels good on my fingers, that's why I do it. Something else that I need to mention here, and this comes from the guitar lessons, the classical guitar lessons that I took in school a long time ago. But you want to make sure that your picking hand is pretty free. It's free floating. And I have my forearm kind of resting on the guitar so that it can be free floating. Something that my guitar teacher used to tell me not to do is this. Have a finger connected to the fretboard. I mean, when I do, that's why I find muted patterns so hard to do, because I have to have my palm glued onto the string. So muting is difficult for me to do, and but with practice I've been able to switch between this free hand position and the muting hand position. With practice you'll get faster at doing both things. But for today we're not going to look at any we're not going to mute any of the strings. You want a free floating hand. All right, let go of that pinky from the body of your guitar so that you have a free floating hand. Okay, let's just strum this, down strum this pattern together. All right. Okay, now let's do our most basic finger picking thing, where all 3 fingers are working together, plucking the strings at the same time. Very little independence between the fingers, and that's why it's easy to execute. You want to do a pinching motion like this. What is going on? I hear something outside my house, and I do not know what it is. What is that? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Guys, hold the phone just a second. I need to see what's happening outside of my house. It sounds like a huge machine has just landed on my front porch. I will be right back. Be right back. Lawrence came in to see what's going on as well. Let's see.
folks, it sounded like there was a tank outside.
There is a tank outside, but not a bad tank. Not a bad tank. Not aliens either. Okay, so last year during Hurricane Irma, I think it was Hurricane Irma that hit the Big Bend of Florida last year. We had a huge amount of tree branches scattered all over our properties. Now, Lawrence and I have a granddaddy oak grove. So these are not just, a branch that you can drag out on your own. These are huge, huge branches. So, we hired a contractor to come in and first cut down all the loose branches and drag the huge branches into one place in our property, and to coordinate an underground burn of those branches. They had to dig out a big pit in our property, put the branches in, and set them ablaze. They burned for a few days, and then Lawrence is coming in. Yeah.
Just well, when you finish, just look at the chat, because there's been a number of things about finger picking and different comments that are good.
Lauren said check the chat after the story. Okay, so I will. All right, so we had a big burn, and after the big burn, the hole was covered with sand from our property. Basically, our entire homestead is just a sand pit, and that's why it's so hard to grow stuff here. If you watch our homesteading channel, you know what I mean. But in any case, covered by the sand pit, but the sand pit was lumpy, and we've been waiting for the contractors for like 6 months to come back and flatten out that area so we can safely walk and take our cars and machinery through that area. And they just showed up right now without any warning. And so we heard like this big tank helicopter sound happening outside, and we didn't know what it was because we didn't know that they were coming today. We've been waiting for a long time for them to come. But I'm glad that they're here, and I'm glad it's not aliens landing on in our front yard. So yeah. Anyways, let me check out your questions. Sorry about that weird interruption. Okay. It helps get, okay. Okay. Alright, me. Say, Peter Pepper. That would be an interesting experience. George Anderson. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, my room, George, my room is partially acoustically treated, and I'm relying a lot on the isolation of these shotgun mics. But again, when I'm talking away from the mic, yeah, you could get a little bit of an idea of what my room sounds like. Not very good, but yeah. Be grateful it's not the aliens. I am grateful, Resonate, that it wasn't aliens. Alright, okay. Yes. Okay, and Lawrence is telling you guys about the Digging Cat Homestead channel. I'm not finding any questions, Lawrence. How much getting used to do the thumb picks take? Okay, Lauren says, George, that you had this question. How long does it take to get used to the finger picks? It's taking me a while. Again, the reason is when I play with them, it extends the length of my fingers, and where I'm feeling the pressure on the strings is on a different place on my fingers, so I kind of lose all of my muscle memory from my regular playing. So I have to learn how to translate what I know to the finger picks. And that's why I haven't come on with the finger picks. But anyway, let's move to the picking pattern with the hit the road jack chord progression pattern. And again, I'm just going to use my thumb to pluck the deepest string and use my index and middle finger to pluck the remaining strings. All right? And let's give it a shot. Is it coming up? Let's see. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, this is a good angle. Thumb, index, middle finger. Make sure you're relaxed and not doing this with any sort of tension, guys. Find a relaxed position. This is not relaxed for me. It's kind of uncomfortable, but just so you could see what's happening with my fingers here. Yeah. Okay. That kind of motion. That kind of motion. All right. I know YouTube is gonna give me a little copyright here, but hopefully they won't take down my stream. YouTube, fair use. This is a music lesson. YouTube. Okay. Did a little combo there. You had plenty money, 1922. Let other women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right like some other men do? Get out of here, give me some money too. This key is a little deep for me, so sorry for the garbly vibrato. So that's one of the songs you could play with this. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more. All right. And I know that you can play one meatball on this. I don't know the verse, so I'm not going to sing it. But there are tons and tons of blues songs that you could play with this pattern, with this chord progression and the plucking pattern. And when you get used to this plucking pattern, you can combine it with that flicky down strum. Okay? All right, before we move on to the next technique, let me check the chat, see if there are any questions. Alrighty. Checking the chat. Checking the chat. Alrighty. Okay. All right. Do. We have a really active chat today. Thanks, guys. Okay. Sounds like Stray Cats. Yes, resonates. Stray Cats also uses that chord progression. Yeah. I do. Yeah. Don't like unruly strings. All right. What can I do? Well, it's just practice. Yep. That is a good suggestion, Weird Guy. Just playing the patterns with the thumb first can be a very helpful way to start with finger picking, for sure. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next thing. So we did the hit the road jack. Hey, and I've also used this hit the road jack pattern for for a kind of Spanishy type music. I'm a little flat on the top string. Okay, next. All right. Now we're going to look at the blues ending melodic pattern. You could use this to end a section of a 12-bar blues or end the 12-bar blues songs. I'll show you both versions. All right. Now I mentioned that this pattern or this melodic ending uses the following scale degrees: te, la, le, and sol. If this is do, te, do, and I'm gonna use te on the middle string. That's scale degree flat 7 on the middle string. And you can get that by placing your slide on fret number 3 of the middle string. Fret 3 of the middle string will give you flat 7 or te in solfeggio, a movable do solfeggio, with te do. So that's where the pattern begins, and then we just do a chromatic scale all the way down to scale degree 5 from there. Okay? So you can either play this pattern with just your thumb. Excuse me. Or you could do the alternating finger pattern that I like to do. Okay? This is how I learned to play melodies in classical guitar lessons. For me, it feels comfortable. For some people, it's really awkward. Again, if you're trying it, make sure that your hand is not planted. There are no fingers planted on the soundboard. Just have a loose hand. Now, okay. So let's practice those two things. You can do it with your thumb, and again, you start the pattern on fret number 3. Try to grab only the middle string with your slide. Okay? Okay? And with the alternating finger pattern, which is what I prefer. Okay? So if you're playing a song, okay, or you can go to 5 to start the 12-bar blues again. All right. Now, so if you got that down, then you could try this. And again, I'm gonna follow my own suggestion, not plant my fingers on there because that takes away from the independence of the fingers. Let me take it a little bit louder. Louder. Not too loud, not too much louder. Ah! Okay. I adjusted the gain just a little so you could hear me better. Now what I'm doing is I'm still only grabbing the middle string with my slide, but I'm alternating between my thumb and my middle finger, or my thumb and my thumb and index, or thumb and middle, whatever you prefer. It doesn't matter. You can use either one. All right. I'm used to playing it with thumb and middle finger for some reason. That's how I've adapted to playing it. Again, you're still just grabbing the middle string with the slide. Now, you can also, if you want, grab the middle and last string with the slide to get this. Either one works, whatever you prefer. Okay, so you're playing a 12-bar blues. I have the bad habit of planting my hand in the middle of the pattern. Again, I gotta practice that myself to keep my playing loose and not introduce tension to the playing, so that I can play longer. It sometimes I have to consciously think, get your hand off of that soundboard. All right. So I'm reminding myself and reminding you guys, don't get into bad habits, because they're hard to shake. All right, let's do that again. Okay. All right. So before we move on to the walking index finger melody playing against the thumb bass line playing, let's take some questions or look at the chat. All right. Okay. Resonate. Talking about blues. Okay. I'm Peter Pepper. I'm not familiar with that name. I have to check out his music. Resonate. Fret buzz. Well, I don't have any frets to buzz, so all of the buzzing sounds you hear are the sounds my cigar box guitar is making. Everything buzzes on it. The strings, these clasps that I have on them rattle. You know, this is a dirty sounding instrument. But no, this is a fretless CBG. I just have fret markers, but no frets on it. And you see that the string height is very high. There's no quote-unquote fret buzz coming from this instrument, but there are buzzes. There are weird resonances. It is a rustic instrument. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, Common People is here. All right. When finger picking guitar, I usually rest my little finger on the body to keep my hand steady. Now, common people, I do that too, as you saw when I was trying to demo that. But my guitar teacher's like, she wouldn't slap my hand, but she was like, you're adding tension to your playing, and you're not leaving your fingers to be free. But when I do muting patterns, I do have to plant myself somewhere on the soundboard. But I've been able to switch between the two fast enough, to play some nice things. Each buzz is unique to that cigar box guitar. That's correct, George Anderson. The cleanest guitar that I have is the one behind me, the acid box. That one, again, every build is different. Every build is going to have its own weird resonances. With that one behind me, there are really cool bell tones that happen in the upper register, which would annoy some people, but I think they're so cool sounding. They kind of remind me of the gamelan sound, gamelan bell sounds. So again, like, and I use piezos in all of my builds to hear the character, the noises from each instrument. If you want a clean sound, you want to build with magnetic pickups, and if you're building with frets, you have to watch your string height and watch your fret height to make sure you don't get annoying buzzes. But again, the buzzes from my instruments are not from frets, it's from the ramshackle instrument itself. All right. Okay. Let's look at the walking index middle finger playing technique. And this is these are the two guys that are going to be responsible for the melody. And then when we get used to playing melodies with these, we're going to introduce the thumb to add a bass line and play melody and bass at the same time. So here we go. I'm going to add a little distortion because it's fun. Why not? Okay. Clean. Too much distortion now. Okay. Let's make sure we're not going to clip here. I'll check that. Check that in just a second right now. Okay. All right. A little flat now. Okay, so a good way to start getting used to the walking finger pattern, alternating your fingers to play notes, start on the top string. See if I can back up a little. Oh. See if you can hear. I keep saying pattern, but I mean technique. Here's the walking fingers technique for playing melodies. And you can easily move to the middle string and easily move back to the this makes this little walking pattern, I don't know. I think it makes melodies sound better than if I were just to pick it out with my thumb. Okay. Here's a cute little trick that I learned, guys. You want to just pick out a blues scale, quote unquote. There are many blues scales, but a blues scale really easily melodically. Just follow the dots on your guitar. All right? Just follow the dots on your guitar. If you use the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth dot is on scale degree 6, but the other dots imply a minor key. Now scale degree is scale degree 6. Anyways, major scale degree 6 with minor scale degrees, which is flat 3. You're implying Dorian mode. All right. If you use the dot indicators and you use 1, 2, 3, dot number 4, that's scale degree 6. You're mixing major and minor scale degrees, but this particular mix with major mode 6, you're implying Dorian mode. Now I'm in G, or at least I hope I'm still in G. I probably drifted a little bit. If I follow these dot indicators and play melodies with these dot indicators on the last string, I would be in G Dorian. Again, dot indicators, following the dot indicators on the last string, which is Do, I'd be implying G Dorian. Try that. Try the alternating finger pattern and just following the dots on your fingerboard. Now play around with that. Okay, now, yeah, just play around with that, and then when you're comfortable with just dealing with the last string, try to pick out some notes from the middle string, see what you get, and practice alternating between the two strings with the alternating index and middle finger technique. All right, before we add our bass line, let me check the chat. Whoop, checking the chat. Woo, don't fall down, guitar, please. Okay. 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 Thanks, George. Yeah, if guys, I taught I taught music theory for many years. My degree is in music composition, so I love music theory. So if you have any theory questions, ask me. Ask me for sure. I would be happy to fill in any gaps that you guys may have in your theory. Now, disclaimer. I come from classical music training, and I am well aware that classical music theory is different from jazz music theory. They're two different animals. I have no background in jazz, and I have no background in blues. I'm learning by about the blues by watching videos and actually playing the music. Um, and the when I talk about chord progressions and analysis, I'm looking at it kind of like from the not kind of like I am looking at it from the classical perspective, because that is the type of music analysis that I learned how to do. All right. So but I can explain anything within that's happening in the music that I'm playing with the music analysis techniques that I learned in school. And again, if you need me to explain something, fill in any gaps, I'd be happy to explain. I love talking theory because I'm a nerd. So ask anything. Okay? All right. Okay. Have you studied, question from Peter Pepper. Have you studied Matthew's harmonic experience? I have not, but now you've piqued my interest. I gotta look that up. All right. More info about it, Peter, in the chat. I'll definitely look at the replay and see what this is about. And look it up, of course. I got the University of Google at my fingertips. All right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about adding bass, the bass line. Here we go. This was the hardest thing for me to pick up. All right. Moving my floor block a little bit closer. All right. This was the hardest thing for me to pick up, but you guys have probably heard me play this a ton of times. This is an improv that has turned into a fixed song for me because I play it the same way or almost the same way every time. So I got a very simple bass line going there, and what's hard even for me now is to keep that steady bass line going while these two fingers are just doing their own thing. So a way you could get started in doing that is just doing this. Have your have your thumb play quarter notes. Just a consistent pulse. And then have each finger play a half note. 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, switch. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. See if you guys can see better. So each finger comes together with the bass after a half note. 4. All right? And when you can do it without having to worry about doing anything in your left hand, then, you know, try to throw some melodic stuff in there. Well, you don't have to get that fancy. You could have a different note per half note, how we had before. Just start off with one note per half note in the melody, and once you get used to playing that, you can throw in between notes. And I'm just throwing in the dot notes there. Just following the dots. It's even hard for me to do in between notes because my thumb wants to be doing something at the same time as the other fingers are moving. But again, that's practice. All right, let me check the chat, see if there are any questions. Alrighty. Yeah, that improv gets more swampy all the time. Yes, yes, Peter. I mean, not Peter. Weird guy. Yeah, it gets swampy all the time. Yeah, love it. When I have a short where I play the same improv but with a metal distortion. This has I'm using a cleaner distortion now, so you're hearing more noises from the CBG. Definitely yields a more swampy sound. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, chat? Okay. All right. Man, nicely active chat. You guys interacting with each other, discussing everything. Cool beans. I'm so glad that this ramshackle stream is engaging, guys. Thanks so much. Well, okay. And so, we have have reached the end of the lesson, everyone. And so I have nothing more to share with you in as far as finger picking is concerned. I'm still on a finger picking learning journey. I still have a lot to learn. The most recent finger picking pattern that I learned was from a channel called Coda Tuition. And this is the pattern I'm talking about. You can learn that pattern again on Coda Tuition's channel. I've included his video on how to play that finger picking pattern in this playlist. So if you scroll down to, I have the playlist, my CBG lessons playlist set up so that you're going from basic techniques to more advanced techniques. You're gonna find that video on this pattern by Coda Tuition towards the end of the list. All right. So yeah, I am not gonna steal his thunder and show you this pattern. Go to his video in my playlist and learn that pattern. All right. So I hope all of these techniques give you some mileage in playing the blues and other types of music on your fretless 3-string cigar box guitar. I have no special announcements for this week, but as always, I'm gonna, once the stream is fully uploaded onto YouTube, I will extract clips. I will download it, extract clips from it, and make nicely edited lessons for you guys, so you don't have to watch the stream replay to get the little nuggets that you want to revisit. All right, so before we go to a word from my sponsor, let's check the chat. All right. Oh, Peter Pepper, I didn't know that that the method he uses is called the Slomsky method. Interesting. All right. Wayfarer, jam a bit. Okay. All right. What shall I jam to, Wayfarer? Lawrence, what should I play for people to play along, I guess, within the chat? Thanks, George, for reminding people to hit that thumbs up, please. That helps my channel so much. Thank you. Okay. Just make something up, he says. Okay. All right. Well, let me do something that would be useful to everyone out there. I'm gonna play the Hit the Road Jack chord progression, and you guys can use some of the finger picking techniques you learned today to pick out a solo over it, improv a solo over it. Here you go. Here's some Hit the Road Jack for you. Again, I'm tuned to G, so if you're gonna play along, play some melodies along with me, you gotta be in G. pattern too soon. Alright, hope you had fun jamming, playing some cool solos with your newly learned techniques. And, alright, excuse me, and now a word from my sponsor. If I can to respond to my commands here.
Merchandise for other CBG enthusiasts like you. Our store offers t-shirts, hoodies, and sweaters in multiple colors and sizes featuring my image and that of my cherub friend. These items are perfect for upcoming cigar box guitar festivals, and if you play or build CBGs, they make excellent attire for craft markets and gigs. Best of all, every purchase you make supports Dr. Liza and her work here on YouTube. No matter where you are in the world, our bonfire-powered store ships internationally. Plus, if you're a super sub, don't forget to use your promo code at checkout to get 10% off your order. So, if you like to see me rocking a CBG on your shirt, hoodie, or sweater, click on the link in the video description box to place your order today. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day. Chaito.
Okay, how about now? Doo-doo-doo. It's still refreshing the stream. Let me see. Nice. You can hear me now? Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Okay. Yes! Can you guys see me though? Because according to YouTube, I'm not transmitting video. It's back! Okay. How annoying. What is going on with YouTube and OBS? Okay, guys. So, I was saying, the sponsor thing is a little joke. The sponsor's me. I have some merch. I'll have after we rebuild, after Lawrence and I rebuild my workshop in our garage, then I'll have some cigar box guitars to sell there, and I plan to stream some have some building streams together with you guys there. So have lots of plans for that space. Anyway, without any without any further ado, I'm not about to start anything new. Let me check the chat, and if there aren't any questions or comments or any conversations to be had, then I'll take you to my cat outro. All right. No, it keeps freezing. Video's working. It keeps freezing. All right. All right, guys. I think we're reaching the point of diminishing returns, and so I'm gonna cue my outro now. And yeah, thank you for being here despite all the technical difficulties, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, ciao. All right. Okay. All right. Oh, you can. Okay, good. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining me for another disastrous stream. I really appreciate you guys who stayed all the way through. I still have the chat open. Yes, I know. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, I'm glad I'm still live because I thought that YouTube wasn't transmitting anything whatsoever. But a quick question for you guys. What would you be interested in talking about next week? I can talk about how to pick out melodies on your cigar box guitar without the use of any scores or tablature. You know, how to pick out melodies by ear. Or we can talk about any other topics that you guys be interested in regards to 3-string fretless cigar box guitars. Now, the melody technique will probably take a few lessons to get through, a few streams to get through. So what do you guys think we should go for next week? Something else, or the picking out melodies by ear? The technique I use, at least the technique I use to pick out melodies by ear. What do you guys think? Yeah, Peter, I know it's a okay. I'll switch back to the live. I'll switch back to the live since now we're back. All right. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me and hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? What's going on your end, guys? Oh. YouTube is transmitting again. Okay. All right. Guys, I am so confused. I don't even know where the stream started to go wrong. Melody. Okay, melodies sound very interesting. Okay. Okay, so Peter Pepper submitted the only vote. Any votes for something else next week? If not, we're going to go with Peter's vote. And talk about how to figure out melodies on your 3-string fretless cigar box guitar without having to use tablature or music score. So that, or we can cover something else you're interested in. Tell me in the chat, guys. Tell me in the chat. All right. So what do you think? After the ad, that's when everything kind of disappeared. All right, that's all right. Because after the ad, I just was frazzled, and after I realized that YouTube wasn't transmitting, I just played the cat outro, and but I'm glad to have you guys back. All right, so vote. We're gonna go with Peter's vote, who's the only guy who submitted a vote. And we're going to cover how to pick out melodies on your CBG by ear. Now, this lesson will probably take 2 or 3 streams because there's a lot to cover. For example, if you do not have scale degree markers on your cigar box guitar neck, you're going to want to add some, and I'll show you where to place them. So we'll start with that. I'll review what these scale degree markers mean, and I will show you how to use them to pick out melodies, and that's going to require a little bit of ear training exercise. We're going to have to learn how to sing the major scale up and down and skip around very well, and then after we sing the major scale up and down and skip around, we're going to do natural minor scale up and down, skip around using scale degree numbers and movable do solfeggio for those of you who prefer movable do solfeggio. All right, so that's the prep work for doing it. We're gonna have to do, you might have to prep your CBG, and we're gonna have to do some ear training to get into that. I know it's a little bit tedious, but I promise you guys, you'll be able, this will be very, very useful for you, because once you can pick out melodies by ear, guess what? You can also pick out chord progressions by ear, and you will not have to rely on tablature or stuff that people post online to figure out how to play the music you want to play. So, yeah, again, it'll take 2 or 3 streams, but it will be well worth it, I promise. And so, yeah, well, thank you guys. Yeah, you could use stickers, dots. The cat fixed it. Yeah, cats are useful. Cat's useful. Angry Cat did fix my stream. Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna end back. I'm going to end the stream with my goodbye with my goodbye cat outro. And yeah, thank you guys for being here despite all of the craziness that happens on the stream, and I will see you next week. All right, chaito. All right, cat outro. Here we go.